Hey, Hollow Hunters, it's Skylin,
And Michaela.
and welcome back to the Hollow Grimoires podcast.
So today we're going to be talking about a few ghost stories from Reddit, true crime, the Icebox murders, and what the next book that we will be reading will be.
I'm
Me
excited.
too.
All right, are you ready to get into it?
Yes, so we each have two stories. We
hmm
both have a long one and then we have a shorter one. So,
Yep. Alrighty. So getting into mine, it is. I grew up in a haunted house with a creepy neighbor across the street. My parents bought the house in 1996, 2 years before I was born. It was a cute single level ranch home built in 1954 with a huge three-level backyard. It all started when my parents did a walkthrough of the house with the realtor. When they went down into the basement, the first thing the realtor pointed out was a picture on the wall. The picture was of the red barn in a field. She told my parents to never take the picture down or move it, or if they didn't want anything to happen in the house. My parents didn't think anything of it. They loved the house and bought it. They left that picture up where it was the whole time that they owned the house, but things still happened. When I was a little, around 3 to 4 years old, I would tell my mom often that I wanted to go outside and play with a little boy in the basement, but his mom wouldn't let him. My mom, of course, wouldn't tell me there's no little boy in the basement, and that was that. My two older sisters and I would play in the basement very often growing up. The basement had our washer and dryer, a kitchen area that didn't work with a bar table and chairs. There was half a bathroom that also wasn't unusable due to plumbing issues, a huge living room space, and a decent sized back room. We didn't go into the back room often. It had some of my dad's workout equipment and holiday storage boxes, so we would only ever went in there if we needed to get something out of it, or my dad would sometimes go in there to work out. But my sisters and I would usually play bartenders in the unusable kitchen area with empty old beer bottles. Nothing unusual happened when we were all in the basement together, but I always remember feeling like something was watching us. No, thank you.
right?
Now comes the creepy neighbor Pete who lived across the street. That rhymed.
Oh man.
He was in his late 70s, early 80s. His wife had passed, so it had been just him in the home. Pete would often leave Aldi's bags of canned food in our breezeway on our deep freezer to the left of the door when we walked in. He did this because he felt for some reason that parents didn't feed us, which was not true. And my sister and I did not look malnourished. My dad and Pete never got along for this reason. My dad felt like he was invading our space by coming into our house unannounced. Where is that? He did this on a weekly basis, and every week my dad would take those bags and bring them across the street to Pete's house. Around this time as well, I was still around 3 to 4 when we would come home from the babysitters. I was in the stage where I never wanted to wear clothes, so I would always run around without clothes on when I was home. And one day, Pete came over and knocked on the door, and I answered the door. Pete then took me and started walking me down my backyard. The yard went all the way down to a large wood area. My dad had saw out of the window that Pete was taking me down the backyard towards the woods, and my sent my sister to come get me, and she was about 5 to 6 years old herself at the time. I never understood why he didn't come get me himself. Yeah,
Right?
if I saw my child, like what the hell?
Yeah.
But my sister ran down, and I had to smack him from for him to let me go. I always wonder what would happen if they didn't notice. A few years went by, nothing strange really happened in the house. There was always that feeling of being watched no matter where you were, but nothing notable really happened. And my dad ended up getting a restraining order against Pete within that time, so he stopped coming over to the house whenever he pleased, but still liked to come across the street and press my dad's buttons whenever he was out mowing the lawn. One night there was a really bad thunderstorm, and the next morning Pete was found dead in his garden behind his house.
What the
What
fuck?
the heck? For some reason, Pete was outside in the storm and he had a pacemaker and it stopped working. Dang. A month or two later, there was a new family that moved into the house. I became friends with the daughter, and who was my age, and my parents were talking with her mom one day, and what the mom told my parents was crazy. When they moved into the house, there was no toilet, just a hole in the bathroom floor. He had no he had put pennies in each corner of every room that that's where he would go to the bathroom. Wow. And
Yeah.
I remember and I remember when I went over for the first time, the basement door had at least 8 deadbolt locks on it. He was clearly not mentally well.
Clearly.
Mhm. At this point, my sister and I were old enough to stay home alone and watch ourselves. My sister was 11 to 12 and I was 7 or 8. Our parents left for work early the morning before we got up, got ready for school, and we would go home around 6:30 at night. My sister and I were very responsible at our age. We would get ourselves ready for school in the mornings and made sure every light in the house was off and the door was locked before we went out for the bus, and we had a key to get in when we got home from school. There was 2 or 3 times within 6 months after Pete's passing that we would arrive home after school and the front door was unlocked, wide open, and all the lights in the house were on. My sister and I
Absolutely
would go
not.
in, yeah. My sister and I would go to the old couple's house next door, Sheila and Harold's, and they would have their son, who was my parents' age, come over and go over to the house, make sure no one was in there. No one ever was in, and nothing was ever taken or missing. This did end up stopping after 6 months, and things went back to normal as it could have been, until my parents decided to separate. This is when things escalated. My dad ended up moving into his girlfriend's house, and my mom was over at her boyfriend's house. My oldest sister was over for the weekend. She is my half sister and lived with her mom majority of the time. She still came over on the weekends after my parents separated and my dad moved out because us girls were all so close and my oldest sister was around 15 to 16 years old at this time. Anyways, that night my oldest sister was doing laundry, but we were all hanging out in the living room like we always did. My mom had stopped by to bring laundry soap because we ran out. My sister brought the laundry soap to the basement and left it on the dryer. When she went back down to swap her laundry, the new laundry soap was pouring out into the basement floor. But here's the weirdest part. The seal to the top of the laundry soap was ripped off and it looked like it was tossed across the room, like it was about 10 feet to the right from the laundry soap, and the top was carefully unscrewed and laying perfectly intact and upright on the floor in between the laundry soap and the wrapper. That was the first thing in the series of creepy things that started happening. After that, I was always scared to go down into the basement in the mornings by myself whenever I forgot to bring my clean laundry upstairs, which I was often doing. I'd always feel like someone was watching me or right behind me about to reach out and touch me. One morning when I went to the basement to get clothes, it felt even creepier than usual. I had an old riding horse down there that you could sit on and bounce on and it would make noise, but it used to but I used it so much when I was in my room years before when my parents were still together, and so they took the batteries out of it and put it in the basement. That morning, I was going through clothes trying to find something to wear. The horse started moving like someone was riding it, and it was and the galloping started saying song it saying started playing. Okay. The galloping song is saying started playing. Which it should not have been able to do without batteries in it. I grabbed the pile of clothes and ran upstairs. I refused to go in the basement alone after that. One night, a couple of weeks later, I was laying in bed with the lights off, watching a movie, trying to go to sleep. My mom and sister were in their rooms, already asleep. My bedroom door opened on its own, and I saw something small sized like a cat quickly run across my bed. I was terrified, and I told myself to forget to latch my door. One of the cats ran in, and of course, my curiosity took my stupidity. I looked under my bed, but there was nothing there. I got up, and both cats were asleep on the mat in the kitchen in front of the sink. I ran back to my room and shoved my dresser in front of my door and left the light on all night. Like, that's not gonna do anything,
Right.
child, but that's okay. Within the same week, something happened to my sister in her room a few nights later. My sister turned her fan on to go to sleep, and when she got onto bed, she started hearing someone working on her closet with what sounded like a heavy work boots. She tried ignoring it, but it continued. She sat up in her bed, and the closet door opened by itself. For
Absolutely
visual,
not.
her closet door was right next to her bedroom door, but she managed to muster up the courage and ran out of her bedroom door and ran across the hall to our mom's room. She ended up sleeping in our mom's room with her that night and a few nights after that. At that point, my mom had my baby brother and needed to buy a new house and more room, and thankfully put the house on the market. But it didn't stop there. One weekend, my sister and I went to spend the weekend with our dad, and our mom was home getting the house ready to sell. When she was laying down in her room, she saw a man cross her doorway and walk down the hall. She called out to them and checked the house, and no one was there. Later on, she was down in the basement doing some cleaning and waiting for my grandparents to arrive to help her. While she was cleaning, she had heard my grandmother's voice say from upstairs, "Sandy," my mom yelled back, "I'm in the basement." And then nothing. My mom figured my grandma just didn't hear, so she went upstairs and looked through the door and noticed my grandparents' car wasn't outside. My mom called my grandma, and when she answered, my mom asked why they left, and she was just down in the basement. My grandma was confused and told my mom they were still 10 minutes away. This shook my mom, and she waited by the door until they got there.
I do not blame her.
Yeah. That next week after school, I decided to take a shower. My grandma stayed at our house during the day to watch my baby brother for my mom while she worked. So she was always there when we got home from school for an hour or two until my mom got home. I went to the bathroom and got in the shower. My mom just had the bathroom professionally redone and we all had on the shower was clear, blurry curtain until we moved in a couple of weeks. As I was in the shower, there was a knock on the door, and then the door opened. I said, "Who is it?" And my grandma said, "It's Grandma. I just need to use your bathroom." And then through the curtain, I saw her walk in to the wall across from the shower and just stand there looking into the shower. Of course, it was blurry shower curtain, so I couldn't make it out her face. So she stood there for a minute and then left. She didn't use the bathroom at all. When I got out and asked her about it, she said she didn't go in the bathroom. The week the weekend before we moved out was Father's Day weekend. On Father's Day, we went out and spent the time with our dad, and he dropped us back off. Um, my sister and I were sitting in the living room with the door open to the breezeway. Her friend was sitting out there at the top of the basement stairs, talking on the phone. All of a sudden, she runs into the house screaming and said, "There's a woman singing in the basement." We all ran out into the backyard and we were so scared. Then my sister and I cracked open the door to the backyard, and it was right next to the top of the basement stairs. We stood there for a minute, and surely we heard a woman singing, and we couldn't make it out what she was singing, but we heard it nothing less. At that point, I was ready to move out of the following weekend. Nothing happened for the rest of the week, but I was on edge the whole time. We moved out the next weekend, and nothing like that has ever happened since.
Absolutely not. That whole story, just no.
Yeah, absolutely not. I swear, the cat is being crazy in here, but I don't know where he is.
So, my next story is called Lived in a Haunted House for Most of My Life, Dozens of Scary Ass Experiences. So, I've lived in a house in the north of England for 20 years now. I'm 24 years old. The amount of paranormal experiences I've had has been crazy. The earliest stories are from before I even gained sentience. My mom and other family members would tell me stories of an imaginary friend I had called Bobby. I had no recollection of Bobby, I only know what I am told. My mom says I would often be awake in the middle of the night, having crawled out of my cot and playing in the pitch black on the upper landing. She'd ask me who I was talking to slash playing with, and I'd say Bobby and Daddy. My father died months before I was born, and my mom kept this info from me as a child. I would sometimes wake her up at like 2 a.m. and say, Mom, Bobby wants a bottle or he's gonna kill you. No BS, this is what I'm told. Creepy as fuck, right? This was actually in the house next door to the one I live in now. We lived there around 2 years. This is only the tip of the iceberg that's played out over the years. My earliest experience of haunting was the bathroom taps. I was very scaredy as I was a very scaredy kid, so I would sleep in my mother's bed a lot, probably for way longer than I should have, lol. And I can remember for months at a time, every night, as we would be going to sleep, the taps in the bathroom would turn on ever so slightly at first, then progressively opening more and more. One of us would have to get out of bed and turn the taps off tight. It was very unsettling. Mom got a plumber out to look at the taps, and he looked at her like she was crazy when she told him the taps were turning on by themselves. This gradually came to an end, and I sort of forgot about it. Then I think maybe a year later, I was around 13 at the time. It was a dark evening in winter, I think, and I was getting ready to leave the house. As I was just about to leave the house, I heard my TV turn on in my bedroom. I was the only one home. I don't know how I mustered the courage, but I ran upstairs to see what was going on, and my TV was turned on 100 volume playing some random channel. I didn't even know my TV could pick up channels. I used to plug in a DVD player. What's crazy about that is when you turned that TV on, it was usually preset to 20 volume and would show a black blank screen. The attic was also creepy as fuck too. It was converted into a spare bedroom for my former stepsister, and I used to stay up there with her. She was probably like 16 and I would have been about 10. I remember one day a book falling off a shelf for no apparent reason, and I swear after she moved out, I would still hear footsteps through the ceiling and the sound of plug sockets searching at night from up there. I also have dreams about ghosts like constantly. I was keeping a dream journal on my phone that I must have deleted by accident, and I swear 90% of the entries would be me fighting ghosts, or being chased, or them being in my house. I remember a dream of me sleeping in the garden because there was a ghost in the window watching me. And I went through a phase where I would wake up at 3 a.m. every night like clockwork for no reason. I would just wake up and feel uneasy as hell. Sometimes it would be like 3:07 or slightly earlier or later, but it was so consistent that I wouldn't even have to check the time when I woke up. I would know for a fact it would be 3 a.m. I wish this was it, but it actually gets a whole lot worse. Hands down, most terrifying moments were when my mom moved in with her new boyfriend and me, being a teenager, decided that living alone in the house would be cool as hell. It was, lol. So one night, I'm laid in bed, it's around 11 p.m., and just as I'm right about to fall asleep, my bedroom door fucking swings open and stops at 90 degrees. The door was clicked shut, and I swear to God, there was not a single window open, and even if it was, the door had some friction from the carpet, so no amount of wind or draft could generate the force required to push open the door. I wasn't scared at that moment, though. My mind was too perplexed to experience fear, I think. I sat up in bed and just stared at the door. After a few moments, it dawned on me how fucking terrifying that was, and I went and stayed at my Nana's house. 2 weeks later, the exact same scenario. I'm in bed, about to fall asleep, and this time my TV remote just fucking flies from the bedside table to the other side of the room. Again, I went and stayed at my Nana's. My stepdad used to get pissed with me for being scared of my room until he decided to stay in there one night after a fight with my mom. He told my mom later he was so sorry for the way he has been with me about my room. He was scared too and ended up staying downstairs. He was a big, bald, scary-looking man too. The final experience I had was when I woke up at 3 a.m. one night, and for some reason I had the urge to look at the bottom of my room. I swear to God, I had seen the outline of what looked like a woman. I could see long hair and a human outline figure. I laid my head back, realized what I had just seen, lifted my head again, and the motherfucker was still there. My fight or flight response kicked in, and I launched out of the bed to punch whatever was standing there. Obviously, there was nothing there, and I had just punched the air. I did actually go back to sleep. I had dubbed the ghost as Bobby by this point, and sort of came to terms with the fact that I had my own ghost that used to be my friend too. So when I was about 20 years old, I got into the habit, whenever I was drunk, of coming home and taunting Bobby. I would ask him to move stuff and then call him a pussy ghost when he wouldn't. I swear one night a cigarette I asked to move started rolling back and forth on the table in front of me, but no one believed me. One night shit got real. We had a houseplant in the front room. I had been taunting the ghost after coming home from the pub. All of a sudden I see the leaves of this plant swaying as if someone was caressing them. My heart sank, and I stood to have a closer look, half terrified and half curious as I edged closer and closer. Next thing, a moth flew in the open door from the hall and landed on the ceiling lights right after that. I swear this on my father's grave. The lights in the house went crazy. They would all dim down, then brighten up, like sort of pulsating. It was every light in the house, the bathroom light, up the stairs, the hallways, all of them. I just bolted outside and ran to my stepdad's house with nothing but my house keys and phone. This became a common occurrence when I would get drunk and provoke the ghost. Lights would flicker and I would end up shouting at the ghost to stop. He would not. I'd usually leave. Scariest story is actually when my mom and stepdad were staying at home. I had been drinking again and they were upstairs asleep, and I was downstairs listening to music on the TV. I decided to test my ghostly friend once and for all with a Ouija board. No, just no, you do not mess with Ouija boards. Anyways, I made it crudely from paper and sat asking questions to Bobby. Nothing happened. That is until about an hour later when I got up to use the bathroom. Halfway up the stairs, and all I hear is a ginormous crash from downstairs. It sounded like someone had launched the heavy glass table across the room. I didn't dare go down right away as I opened my mom's door to see if they had heard it too. They were fast asleep. I went downstairs reluctantly to check out the noise, and not a single thing was out of place. I've been scared in this house more times than I can even remember. That's crazy.
That is actually crazy. like haunted houses.
Yeah.
All right. Mine is titled My Haunted Home. The house we live in today is from the 1980s, and an old woman used to live there before us, but she passed away from old age. When the family got settled in, strange things apparently started happening. Let me go ahead and say I wasn't born just yet, but I've experienced my own paranormal things in this house. Everyone started having dreams about her. My sister said she was screaming at her, but there was no sound, and her hair kept going in and out of her head. My father, who doesn't believe in ghosts, said he had a dream about her too. He was asleep on the couch and she was hovering above him, screaming at him to get out of her house. My mom, who's a very religious, sat on her bed one day and could feel her presence, not see her or anything, but she just knew that she was there. My mom told her, "This is our home. We bought it with our money and we saved. We plan to stay here until we retire and pass. I'm sorry that what happened to you, but you have to understand this is our home now." Ever since that happened, things started to calm down. Little things would happen here and there, chairs moving, the stove turning on, and the sink turning on until I was born. When I was born, nothing would happen at all. Everyone realized that there were kids or babies around. The old spirit woman wouldn't do anything. My mom once saw her standing by my crib just looking at me, not hateful, but like she was happy to see a newborn. Then fast forward to 2019. My sister got a divorce and she lived in a big house. Our dad didn't want her to be alone in such a big place, so he asked me, "Would you stay with your sister so she's not alone?" I agreed. Then in 2023, our father passed away and we didn't want our mom to be alone. So we sold the house and we moved back into our mother and moved in with our mother, and everything started happening again. The lights would flicker. Everyone would start having dreams about her again. At one point, when we were all talking about it, the power cut off and back on and then off again. And you could hear the breaker being switched. No.
Right?
One time, I was fixing my mom's laptop in the kitchen table, and three of my cats were watching me. All of a sudden, I heard something singing from under the house, and all the cats' heads slowly turned towards where it was coming from. I went pale. Another time, I walked into my room, and my fiance was asleep. But as soon as I stepped in, a black shadow ran through the wall, knocking over the trash can. me and one of my cats took off running straight into the living room. There was a bunch more stories I'll share, but my thumbs are so sick of typing, so that's all for now.
Dude, that's crazy.
I wouldn't have done that. Mm-mm.
Same. Okay, my next one and our last one is I saw and talked to a ghost on the bus, but it's a question mark.
Ooh.
So this happened to me on the 20th of April on the bus. I woke up that morning and thought, today I'm going to take another bus. I want to try a different route. Something I rarely do because I'm a person of habit and I get anxious when I change my routine. So I did. I took the other bus and tried a different route. At 9:20 a.m. on the bus, I met an old man that I actually recognized. His name was Aldo. It is the grandpa of one of my brother's friends. We all know him in the family. He knows my mother, my grandma, and everyone else. He owns a greengrocer's. He sells fruit and vegetables. We say hi and talk, and he tells me that Alessio, his nephew and my brother's friend, is moving to the north of Italy because he found a job there. We talk about how bad the job market is. We complain, we laugh, then he asks about my brother. Name and everything. How is he doing? Is he settled? How's mom? Knowing this man, of course, I answered and we talked. Aldo was dressed nicely. He told me that he went to the hospital to grab some certificate and he left the car somewhere because there was traffic. Then he received a call. He had a smartphone. It's important that you know it was, you'll see why in a moment. And he couldn't quite answer the call at first with his finger. You know, old people usually find it troublesome. Then he called the person back. After 5 minutes or so, I saw that he was getting ready to get off the bus, told me that the driver already knew he had to get off right there. He shook hands with him and he got off, saying goodbye. When I arrived at my destination around 9:45 a.m., I called my mom and told her who I met on the bus because we've been friends with this family for years. Long story short, I came back home that night with mom and brother asking me what the hell happened. Because she called this old man's daughter, they're good friends, and she asked about Alessio and why he's moving out. Told her I met Aldo on the bus and he told me all this. But Alessio had no plans of moving out and going to the north of Italy at all. And also, Aldo had been home the whole morning until 10 a.m. He doesn't even know how to take buses, and he had no business at the hospital at all. I tell my mother, what the hell are you talking about? I saw him. I talked to him. She shows me a picture of Aldo, and yes, it's him. I'm telling you, we chatted. Even Aldo's wife was on the phone with me that night and assured me Aldo was at home with her the whole morning. Also, Aldo didn't own a car. So I say, let's check Aldo's phone. I know he received a call when we were on the bus, and he doesn't own a smartphone. He has one of those old flip phones because he can't use the modern ones. Who the hell did I talk to? How did he know my brother's name? Why did he ask about mom? Mind you, Aldo is a sweet old man. It's a pleasure to meet him every now and then at his shop. If it was him on the bus, it's no surprise that he would ask questions, but it was not Aldo. On the 17th of April, it was my birthday. My late grandpa's on the 15th. Could it have been him? He died in 2022 in October. I miss him terribly and think about him all the time. Would be nice if it was you, Grandpa, but still freaks me out. I can't explain it.
That's so, like, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for him to be like, who the hell was I talking to?
Right?
Because it was this
He's like,
person.
no,
Like, that.
bro, it was him.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that's
Like,
insane. That's actually
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is more of like on the ghost story-ish. I don't know.
Yeah.
To this day, I don't know. So, as you guys know, I just recently moved. So I moved into a new house with my roommate, and I was like, it was like late at night and everything, and I was like going into the kitchen, and our kitchen has like, it's like kind of like a hallway style kind of kitchen. It's kind of enclosed off a little bit. So we have the kitchen, and then right where the sink is, you look up, there's like an enclosed patio, and then there's a door. You can see through it because it's like has this little like bay window thingy, and you can see the back door, and that goes out to our backyard. Well, I literally just went into the kitchen to grab something. I was making tea because I had like I was sick.
Yeah.
So I was making tea, and the next you know, it sounded like someone was taking cinder blocks or garbage bags and shuffling things around. Like it sounded like people were rustling, and I was like, where I live isn't the best, like isn't the safest area. So I was
Yeah.
just like, that's weird. Like it was like so, like clear as day. I was like, it sounded like someone was rustling around. And
Yeah.
so I asked my roommate, I was like, hey, like where are you? And she was in her room, and I was like, okay, so that wasn't her. So I instantly like got freaked out. Like I went into like protection mode, like freaked
Yeah.
out. I went into my room. I got my pistol. I was like, hell no. I literally was like, I do not want to shoot somebody today, but if I have to shoot somebody today, I will. And so I told her, I was like, I heard rustling around or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's an animal or what. Like I was like, it sounded like it was in the patio or like right outside
Yeah.
the patio. And I was like, I was like, it scared me. And so then and we went investigated and everything because like we were scared. We
Yeah.
were like, what the heck? So we went investigated and everything, and we were standing not in the kitchen, but like right by the dining room and where you could walk into the patio. And
Yeah.
then next thing you know, my roommate heard tapping on the window.
Mm-mm.
And we were, oh my God, that scared us so bad. We decided to call one of our friends, and we were like, hey, can you please come here? Like,
Yeah.
can you come? Like, we're, scared. So we sat in her room and everything. And he like came, he like literally swept the entire house, even went outside and everything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a single thing. And I was just like, there's no way, because we both heard like literally it sounded like tapping on a glass,
Yeah.
like tink tink, and we were like, And I heard rustling and stuff, and like I was there was no way to explain it, but like even to this day I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah. I have a story kind of similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was cat sitting for one of my friends, and I was staying at her apartment, and her apartment also not in a great part of town, right down the road from where I used to live when I lived in New Mexico. Um, well, I was sleeping in the master bedroom, and I
Mm-hmm.
woke up because somebody was tapping on the window, and I
Mm-mm.
was like,
Mm-mm.
I did not move a muscle. I stayed probably the stillest that I have ever been, and it happened like two or three times of them just like tapping on the window, and I'm like, dude, what the heck is that? And another one of my friends, she was also staying there because she was also helping cat sit. So like my first thought was like maybe it was her, like maybe she forgot her key or something, but I was like, why would she be tapping on the window?
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, there's the it could have been a freaking crackhead in that part.
Yeah.
Could have
Yep.
been a crackhead, or it was a ghost. I don't know, because I like there were the way the bed was, it was like right,
Mm-hmm.
like here's the window and here's like the headboard,
Mm-hmm.
and there's blinds, and she also had curtains right there. And I like I said, I didn't move, but I didn't like see like a shadow or anything of like a
Mm-hmm.
person. There easily could have been a person right there, and I just didn't see anything because I didn't move. I was too scared to look. But
Mm-hmm.
that creeped me the fuck out.
I don't know. I don't know what it is about this, but I don't honestly I don't know when this house was built, but
Yeah,
like it's like not a new house or whatever, and we've had
yeah,
like certain things like this house creaks and stuff, and I don't know like this. I don't know if it was this morning or right before I was going to bed. I want to say it's probably this morning, but like earlier in the
yeah.
morning. Um, I woke up and I'm watching somebody's dog, and so her dog was in bed with me and stuff. And I woke up and she was like up, like just like
Yeah.
laying, but she was up and she was like looking towards my bathroom. And I heard like a creak in that area, but it sounded like it was in
Mm-mm.
the attic. It sounded like it was in the attic, and I was just like,
Absolutely not.
I was like, I literally was like, I'm just gonna say it was the wind or
Yeah.
one of the cats or my roommate, and it just the creek just went and creaketed in that area.
Right?
or whatever. Because like I don't really have like any kind of like I don't get any kind of vibes and stuff like in
Yeah.
the like the I wouldn't say like in the bedrooms. I don't get that feeling like in the spare room. I don't like in the
Yeah.
office. I don't get that feeling. But like even last night, I was like sitting on the couch and I was just doom scrolling in the dark.
Yeah.
And like you've seen my house and everything. So like our patio is like they're like glass sliding doors and everything, and
Yeah.
then it's enclosed and they had like these big windows. Well,
Yeah.
we put stained glass on the windows and stuff, and like a fake stained glass on the windows because
Yeah.
we didn't want people looking in.
Yeah.
Which made it feel a lot easier. Like, oh, no one's gonna like be looking at us through the
Right.
patio. But I was like sitting on the couch and I
Yeah.
was just like scrolling, and I just kept feeling like literally kept feeling like there was like somebody in like the dining room patio
Mm-mm.
area, and I was like, you're just in your head, it's dark, you're just scaring
Right.
yourself for no reason, like you're
Yeah.
fine. And then I decided to like go in go into the bedroom and like go to sleep or whatever. But like you always get like a feeling of like somebody's watching you from the
Yeah.
patio, and I'm just like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely not.
Yep. So,
So now we're going to talk about our true crime story, which is the Icebox Murders. So, on June 23rd, 1965, Marvin Martin called Houston police to request a welfare check on his aunt and uncle, Fred and Edwina Rogers, with whom he had been unable to get in touch with for several days. When officers forced their way into the Montrose home, they found it empty. Noticing food left out in the kitchen, Patrolman C.A. Bullock opened the refrigerator, where he discovered the dismembered bodies of the elderly couple. The Rogers' adult son, Charles, who lived in the house, immediately became a person of interest in the investigation. Despite cleanup efforts, blood evidence was found leading to Charles's bedroom. Charles was never located and was declared dead in 1975. The case remains unsolved. There is a little like news article, but there's like a little or like a video, but there's a little caption, so I'm gonna read it. This KHOU news footage captures law enforcement at the Rogers home on the night of and the day after police discovered the crime scene. Neighbors told officers they were not aware Charles lived in the home, who allegedly left before dawn, returned after dark, and only communicated through notes shoved under his attic bedroom door. In 1992, authors John Craig and Philip Rogers, no relation, uh, posited that Charles was a CIA hitman responsible for the Kennedy assassination. According to their theory, Charles murdered his parents after they learned too much about his covert activities. That is quite interesting. There's more.
okay.
Police found items believed to have been used in the murder, including a claw hammer, scissors, and a keyhole saw. True crime enthusiasts have been amazed to see the investigators handling these items with their bare hands. Glove wearing at an active crime scene became standard practice in 1924 to protect law enforcement from biohazardous substances and avoid placing fingerprints. Consideration of cross-contamination during evidence collection and processing did not fully materialize until the development of DNA analysis in the 1980s. The training films below reveal how law enforcement conducted an investigation around the time of the Rogers double homicide. So the first one, produced by the Texas Department of Public Safety, this government film provides a look into the procedures used in a homicide investigation. Through its many twists and turns, the murder mystery scenario outlines the many departments required to solve a case and bring the perpetrator to justice. Included are the demonstration of fingerprint matching, ballistics testing, chemical analysis, toxicology, autopsy, and a polygraph session. Be advised, the film contains graphic scenes of an autopsy. And the second one is this silent government film, also produced by Texas Department of Public Safety, demonstrates the procedures performed by the department's crime laboratory to identify perpetrators of criminal activities. Presented as a walkthrough the laboratory with stops in different units, the film documents a range of investigative techniques and evidence processing, including chemical analysis, ballistic testing, toxicology, fingerprinting, and infrared photography. Do you think Charles did it?
He had to have done it.
I
He
was gonna
had to
say,
have.
there's no way, like, there is blood evidence found leading to his bedroom. Like,
He's
there's
probably
no way.
dripping of blood,
Yep.
or like, and the thing is like, for him to be like, oh, he was pronounced dead, like missing and dead, like blah 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 blah, bro.
Yeah.
That guy was
Like
still out there.
10 years later. So it took place on June 23rd, 1965, and he was declared dead in 1975. So literally, like 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I feel like the CIA hitman is a little, I mean, whatever, but I feel like it's a little far-fetched.
Like, you're not gonna kill your parents if they start to get like
Yeah.
you are gonna get in trouble if
Yes.
people are starting to find things out. Not, oh, let me go and kill them.
Right?
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably like old now, if he is actually
He's
still
dead
alive.
now.
Yeah, but like, there's no way that they just declared him dead after 10 years. Like, nah.
I don't know.
It reminds me of Jeffrey Dahmer,
Yeah.
like big time.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely
Crazy.
a little suspicious.
Yeah, definitely a little suspicious with everything.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think it is time for the moment that you all have been waiting for. Our next book that we will be reading, which is Heir to the Hollow by Jessica Lee.
I'm so excited.
Do you want to read the blurb on the back?
Yes, let me put my glasses on. Ooh, I haven't even read the back yet. This is literally raw,
Yeah.
Feelings and stuff. So it says she never expected to fall for two men, but in a world of monsters, their bond is the only thing keeping her safe. While searching for clues as her mother's disappearance, Serafina
Lachlan.
Lachlan
Yep.
uncovered a hidden file marked erased that she finds pulls her into a world of ancient legacies. How do you say that?
Nikolai.
Nikolai Duskavor?
Yep.
Son of the Vampire King, was sent to watch her. He is both her fiercest protector and her greatest risk. Every step closer to him pulls Sarah deeper into Court's ruthless games, where trust can cost her her life. Silas, the man who walks her dreams, a guardian with a forgotten past, tethered to the hollow veil, he knows truths Sarah cannot remember. His presence ignites what fate began long ago, a pull that binds the three of them. A desire tangles with destiny. Sarah must choose whom to trust and confront the force that erased her family. Ooh.
So, a little bit about the book. I actually know the author, Jess. She is the wife of one of my coworkers. She very sweet, love her. I want to see if maybe she will come on the podcast with us and talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah. But this book was very recently released. I was actually one of her alpha readers. So I read like the very first like raw draft of it. And so when I reread it for my advanced reader copy, there were I won't spoil anything, but there were certain like details and characters that I was like, wait, I thought that person was there. I wasn't crazy. She just took them out to continue their story like later on because she wants to write more than just this. She wants to write a series.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm sitting there reading it. I'm like, I thought this person was here. No, they were. In the very first version that I read, they just got taken out to be in a future story. So,
That's exciting.
right?
I love I don't know, like the detail
Yeah,
and
the
everything.
cover.
Yeah, it's like really cool. And the funny
Yeah.
thing is, it's like, okay, we're the Hollow Grimoire podcast. Like,
Right?
they're the
Here's to the
Hollow. Like,
hollow.
I'm like,
Right?
I'm excited. I'm very, very excited to read
I'm
this.
excited for you to
And
read it. And I'm excited to also reread it.
yeah, and what you guys don't know and stuff is, Michaela sent this to me
I
as a
did.
little surprise and a little pick me up, and I have been literally staring at this book.
She has been waiting so long to read it, but I told her that I wanted to do it on the podcast, so of
Yeah.
course had to wait till we finished Rebel Witch and then wait until we finally got to record again before we could
Sorry.
start.
Yeah, but I am so excited.
Me too.
It's going to be like pulling teeth to be only reading, 10, 20 chapters.
Yeah.
Because if you guys know me, I could read an entire book in one day.
Oh, Sam.
I'd like, just like how I accidentally read
Read ahead.
15 chapters.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's not like a super long book. Oh, also I have this bookmark.
Aww.
They are characters in the book.
Hmm.
Came out
That's
on January 20th. So she
so
did
cool.
a book signing at the bookstore that I took you to out here. And
Hmm.
so mine is actually signed by her.
That's so cool.
And I got a bookmark.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very excited.
Me too.
I'm going to. Oh yeah, this is my bookmark. If you guys
Yes.
remember this,
Yep.
this is my bookmark. It is going straight into my book, and it matches.
It does match.
I'm so excited. Ta-da! All right.
Well, I
Well,
think that is all for today.
thank you guys for watching. If you liked the spooky stories that we talked about, put in the comments below what you guys think was the most spooky
Yeah.
story that you heard today, or which gave you goosebumps.
Yeah. And also, if you think that Charles killed his parents.
Yep. Yep. If you think he killed his parents, put a fridge. Is there a fridge emoji?
I don't know if there's a fridge emoji.
There might not be a fridge emoji.
Put an apple emoji.
Put an apple emoji if you think
Put an
he did
apple
it.
emoji if you think that he did it.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.